Hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Come to you this morning with a book haul I was able to do and a little bit of a mail haul. On Tuesday, I'd had payday from school, and we went to do our monthly shopping trip, our big shopping trip to St. Joe. And while we were there, my wife and I stopped at Books Revisited, and I was able to pick up some new books. And those of you that are new to the channel, I am a teacher. I teach American history, and so early American history. So a lot of my collection is based around that, and you'll see that a lot of these books that I picked up were all based around that. That's the stuff that's my passion, and that's what I love to learn about and read about. And so anyway, without further ado, here we go. I'm going to start with my mail haul. I've got a subscription to American History magazine, and I got the newest issue in. This is is it the August? Yeah, August of 2020 issue, and of course it's talking about World War II and in Hawaii there with the sinking of the ship there when they bombed Pearl Harbor. And so I got that in the mail, and it looks like it's got some interesting articles. When Oscar Wilde roamed America, Gothic Garbage, New York City Goes Sanitary, the musical riddle of Sinatra's success, Lonesome Death of Tail Gunner Joe. And then So This Is War is the one on the cover, a young Marine's diary of his plunge from peacetime Hawaii into World War II. And so several different articles. I like that magazine. The articles are typically short, but detailed enough to definitely keep your interest. And then I thought it was kind of interesting because on the back cover says Today in History, July 17th, 1918, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia and his family were executed. Years later, conspiracy theories emerged and imposters began to surface. An Eastern European woman named Anna Anderson claimed to be the Grand Duchess Anastasia Romanov, spared death in 1918 by a sympathetic guard. 10 years after her death in 1994, DNA testing concluded she was not Anastasia, but a missing Polish factory worker. And if you look there, there's the back cover. And that's interesting to me simply because I just read a biography on Anna Anderson, and so that was kind of coincidental, or when I read the biography, I guess I didn't realize it was going to be a anniversary date there for the death of or for the execution of the Tsar and his family, but that was purely coincidental. But my wife, this last weekend, had actually went to Kansas City, and while she was there, she had went to Barnes & Noble for me, and went through the clearance racks and stuff. And I don't expect her to go through the history shelves for me, but she did go through the clearance thing, and we were on the phone with the video stuff, and she was showing me the different books, and there wasn't anything I was willing to pull the trigger on because I didn't think it was the price was low enough on the stuff, and so I didn't think I was going to get anything out of that trip. And my wife ended up bringing home History Magazine Quarterly, and I was not familiar with this magazine before, or I don't remember it anyway. Maybe I was, and I just am forgetful. But this has got a lot of different articles in it as well. The Wellington train disaster, the sinking of the SS Tuscania, Queen Victoria's children, Sadie Carnot, father of thermodynamics, and I may have mispronounced that, sorry if I did, the original Flying Nun, General Washington's Baker General, President Andrew Johnson, impeachment in the press, Jimmy and Bobby, a tale of two students, the Arasani Russian winter transport, and officers plot to kill Hitler. So it's got several different articles from different time periods, and so that was kind of a nice surprise that she brought me home. And I have yet to dig into that one. I was reading through some of the stuff in American History magazine, so I'll get to that one soon. Now let's get to the books that I got Tuesday at Books Revisited. I was pretty excited with my finds. I didn't spend too much money. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. I spent a total of $13 on everything I got. And so let's go ahead and go through these. The first book that I picked up at Books Revisited was The Great Crash, 1929, by John Kenneth Galbraith, however you say that. And I've got one other book by him, but I have not read it yet. This is from Houghton Mifflin Company out of Boston. It is a 1961 copy, and so it just goes through the beginnings of the Great Depression, going through the crash itself, and I am definitely not an economics expert, and so it's something I need to probably beef up on. And I thought this would be a good read, so I was pretty pumped about that pickup. And then I found an Abe Lincoln title, Abe Lincoln Grows Up by Carl Sandburg. Now, I didn't know Sandburg had written any other books on Lincoln except for the big ones, the War Years and the Prairie Years. And I thought I found a gem, and then I got to looking, and this is actually just taken out of the Prairie Years. But that's okay. It's still nice to have in the collection. Because I collect Lincoln books. If you're new to the channel, I've got, I think I counted yesterday, 87 Lincoln books. So I've got a couple. This is a Harcourt Brace Jonovich Publishers out of San Diego, and it is a 1956 book, 1956. And like I said, this is taken out of the Prairie Years. And I have read those. I've read both the Prairie Years and the War Years. Very good books. Next book is a paperback by Stacy Schiff, and it is Cleopatra A Life. And I saw this on a couple different booktubers channels, and I want to say Steve Donahue talked about it. He had said it was an excellent biography, and I bought her book Witches on the Salem Witch Trials, and I have yet to read that. I might get to that very soon because I'm going to be getting into my early American history, and so I might be picking that up. But I was told this was a very, very good book, and or not, I guess it didn't tell me directly through the videos. I could have swore I saw it on Steve's, and I think there was another one that I saw it on, and I can't remember who it was. But anyway, this particular one is Back Bay Books from Little Brown and Company out of New York, and it is, let's see, a 2010 book, I believe, 2010. And so I'm excited to have that, just based on the reviews from booktubers. Now, as I said, in my classroom, I teach early American history from Columbus all the way through the Civil War, and we would love to get to Reconstruction. We never seem to, get to that point because we run out of time in the school year. But one of the things that we cover throughout the school year is we cover the biggest moral dilemma in American history, and that is, of course, slavery. You definitely could throw the argument in there how we treated the Indians was pretty bad as well. But I kind of center on that, American slavery. And so I found this book, American Slavery, 1619 to 1877. And that's by Peter Colchin. And I thought this would be a nice addition to my studies on slavery and how it was, it was just plain terrible, and then how we came to end that. And then, of course, that's just an ongoing fix as we go. The publisher is Hill and Wang out of New York, and this is a 1993 book. And so I look forward to that. And then I found the previous time I went to Books Revisited, they had a bunch of Civil War books come in, and Burke Davis was one of the authors that they had several, several titles come in for, and I must have missed one because I found one. I found two Appomattox, 9 April Days, 1865 by Burke Davis. So I was real excited to get that and add that to the collection. And it's a little older book. It's still readable. It's not maybe in the greatest condition, but it's still very, very readable. This is from Reinhardt and Company Incorporated from New York, and it is a 1959 book. And I like Burke Davis. I've read a couple of his other books, and I've got a couple that I haven't read. So that'll be a nice addition to the Civil War books. Another one I found. This one's on the Revolution. This is The Long Fuse: How England Lost the American Colonies from 1760 to 1785 by Don Cook. And just by the sound of it, this is more going from a point that maybe we didn't win it, but England just lost it. You know what I mean? And so this will be an interesting take on the American Revolution and just you know, what went on. It's got kind of neat end papers here, ex-library copy, but that's all right. It's got a map of the colonies there. And this is the Atlantic Monthly Press out of New York, and it is a 1995 book. And I'm pretty excited to pick that up. It's in pretty decent condition. Now, the next two books that I found, they are like in brand new condition, perfect. And I got them for $2 a piece, and I was pretty excited to add them to my collection. Most of you recently have really figured out how I'm a huge baseball fan, and so I read every summer. I'll read 1, 2, 3 different biographies on baseball players from the past, and so this is going to be a nice addition to my collection. This is Pennant Races: Baseball at its Best by Dave Anderson, and got a nice picture of Ty Cobb sliding in there. And so, like I said, this is in brand new condition. I've never heard of this book, so that makes it all the better. Something new. This is by Galahad Books out of New York, and it's let's see, 1997 book. This one's 1997. Originally 1994, but this one's 1997. And it's just got a whole series of stories on pennant races. Let's see here, the 1908, 1920, 34, 38, 40, 41, 44, 48, 49, 51, 64, 67, 78, 91, and 93. And so, it's from the past all the way to the fairly recent present. And so this is going to be a fun read for me. I'm pretty sure I'm going to thoroughly enjoy that. Not to mention, like I said, it's in brand new condition. And speaking of brand new condition, here's another one. Brand new condition. This one's a library copy. I believe the Pennant Races was donated to the Books Revisited because there's no markings or anything on it. But this one is a ex-library copy, and it is The American Revolution: A Grand Mistake by Leland Stauber. Now, this is definitely going to be an alternative point of view, which I honestly typically... See that? Sorry about the glare. I typically don't read these type of, from this point of view, but, trying to be more well-rounded, I need to. And when you see that Howard Zinn is the one who, gives one of the blurbs on the back, you can take a guess on where this is coming from and the point of view. But this looks like, honestly, a brand new book. Like it has never been checked out at all. It is in awesome condition. And it's from Prometheus Books out of New York. Amherst, New York, excuse me. And it is a 2010 book. So I was very happy to add that to my collection. It's a little different point of view, which, I need to be open-minded just like everybody else and listen to those different points of view. But I'm just excited. There's no markings on any of the pages other than, the stamp from the library. There's no like smudges, dirt marks, markers. Doesn't look like anything in pencil. Wonderful copy. Wonderful copy. So anyway, that was my book haul this week from Books Revisited, and then, like I said, a mail, American History magazine came in the mail, and then my wife bought me one. But that's been my book collecting for this week, and I hope you enjoyed this booktube. I hope maybe I gave you a couple more books to add to your TBR, and thank you for watching, and happy reading.